Okay, welcome back. In this lesson, we are going to learn how to construct and use tree diagrams to list outcomes for two-step experiments. So we can use a tree diagram in probability to actually do a couple of things. We can either list the sample space, which is all possible outcomes. We can also use our tree diagram to be able to calculate probability when we actually put our weighted tree diagram in. For the purpose of this lesson, we're just going not weighted, and we're going to look for all the outcomes. We're going to list the outcomes, and essentially that is for us our sample space. So what's one of the easiest things that we can do? Well, we're talking about flipping a coin. Now, if we start from our start, that's where we want to, we've got a coin in our hand and we want to start flipping. Well, what options do we have? We've got heads and we've got tails. They are our two options. Now, if we look at that, we've got one option there and we've got two options there. There's only two tracks as we go. So we know that our probability of getting ahead is going to be one chance out of two. Our probability of getting a tail on that first flip is also one chance out of two. We're considering a standard dice. It's not influenced at all. Well, let's say we do a second flip, and this then becomes an example of our two-step experiment. What are our possible outcomes now? So, well, if we flip the head first and then we pick that same coin up and we flip it again, we're not influencing the outcome at all. We're just reflipping the same coin, so our options don't change. And it's the same deal over here after we've flipped a tail the first time. The only difference is now we have 1, 2, 3, 4 different options at the bottom. Because if we follow our track, we've got this option here, which involves heads, heads. We've got this option here, which involves heads, tails. We have this option here, which is tails and then heads. And we have our final option here being tails and tails. We have 4 tracks that can run us all the way to the bottom. So this here now is a list of our sample space. So let's list that over here. Heads, heads, we've got heads, heads, tails, we've got tails, heads, and we've got tails, tails. Now, depending on the question that you are getting asked, the order in which your outcomes happen may actually be important. That comes down to the question. But when we get to our bottom here, when we have listed our sample space, what we can see here is that we have a total number of outcomes of 4. And each one is just as equally likely to occur. So we have a 1 in 4 chance of getting any one of these outcomes. Right? So from here, try it again, try it yourself this time. Only we're going to try it this time with this spinner. Now, you have this spinner, it's 1 to 6. Each section can be assumed that it has an even chance. Have a go, pause the video and write out the first line of your single step experiment for all the possible outcomes. Okay, so all the possible outcomes for this spinner, we would start with 1, 2, 3, Oh, you know what? That's going to really run out of space there, isn't it? Let's try this again. Oh, here we go. Well, let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we'll move this a little bit off to give us some more room. 6. This is our sample space for a single-step experiment. But we're not looking at single-step experiments. We are looking at two-step experiments. Now, each one of these has a 1 in 6 chance of occurring. Remember, as we said, it's all even. Now, if we decide to spin that spinner again, or maybe we spin this spinner as well, well, how does this affect our sample space? Well, from here, we're going to go from 1, we have 2 options. We've got 7 and we've got 8. Here we've also got 7 and 8, and it's going to actually continue for every single possible outcome. Now, as you can see, we can get the sample space, the overall sample space, the number of them at least, by counting the number of values we have along this bottom row. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Well, hold on. We had 2 options here. We had 6 options here. And we have 12 possible outcomes. 12 total possible outcomes. Well, we've got 6, we've got 2, and then we've got 12. I wonder if we can find some kind of a relationship there. But that's potentially something for another video. So if we list all of the possible outcomes of this 2-step experiment, well, we're going to start listing 1, 7, 1, 8, 2, 7, 2, 8, and so on all the way down until we've listed all 12 outcomes. And that is listing outcomes for 2-step experiments. From here, if you've got any questions, bring them on in. Have a chat to your teacher. There's an activity ready for you to go. And I hope you enjoy.